Tonight's our main session of the week, Thursday night, priming for Saturday's game. So we've got both our seniors and reserves team training together. It's a bit of a challenge at times. We've got the under-18s training prior, so they could have up to about 28 on the track at a time. So try not to encroach on the ground too much while they're using it, but also at the same time be as prepared as we can. There's juniors training on the lower oval, depending on what the ground looks like. They might come up and use it, and then we're working with the women's team. So when we come out and do our warm-up, they can be up to 90 on the track at one stage. So a bit of juggling with that, but that's what we do. This is our main training venue between our women's teams and men's teams, so we're using the same facilities, change-wise and stuff like that, but everyone works in really well together, and the planning certainly makes it as seamless as possible. G'day girls, no, you're right, go through. There's no one undressing, you're right to go through.
This is a training plan that we put together, so that happens a couple of times a week obviously, and we factor in what's happened the week before in terms of the game style and how that's gone.
We've got messenger groups, WhatsApp groups and email chains floating around between the coaches during the week. Certainly as part of our review post-game, and then leading into this week's game, there's a fair amount of conversation.
We'll normally put together the Tuesday and the Thursday plan probably on a Sunday. I'll get the bones of it in there. Then I'll get feedback from the line coaches and obviously the head coach as well. We'll maybe feed in elements we reviewed through the footage, and then there'll be minor changes or focuses that'll be built into it.
So the session plan that's been put together, each coach has got an area of the ground that they'll work to, and drills need to flow from each other. So as much as we can set up pre-training, make sure there's not downtime for the players. Try and get out here a little bit early before our coaches meeting, just to make sure that I'm available to the coaches or the players as they arrive. So yeah, as early as I can be set up without getting in the way of our under-18s training before us, makes a big difference for later in the night. So that can be just on that wing if you want to set up 2 boxes. We'll generally outline the training session in the early part of it so they know what to expect. Getting them in early, happy, engaged, those sorts of things make for a really good training session for us. Everyone should have seen the training plan went out late this afternoon. With the rotations, I'll keep times on those and call the rotations if that suits for those first 3.
We'll generally catch up and just run through, and if there's any questions, because it might be that there's a new drill or something coming in, so there might be some new elements that we need to go through, I need to explain, so I'll generally attach a diagram to the email if there's something brand new, but sometimes it does require a little bit of explanation.
Really for us it's about empowering as much as possible, but at the same time we take the role and responsibility on pretty seriously to make sure training's as well planned as it can be, so that when they roll in they know what they're expected to do or where they're going to add value, rather than them just start pulling guys out of training or doing things willy-nilly. It's fairly structured still. Nova's not here, but Seco's going to pop in and just start pulling some players out in regards to some individual craft stuff. So he'll roll that. Tonight, one of the guys, he's got a sick child at home, so he's caring for them, and another coach has been held up at work. So it means we've got to be agile with our training plan, but I've got an enormous amount of support that we can call on, and we've also got some players that we can roll into roles. Tonight, Will Sexton, for example, he's injured at the moment, not playing, so we're able to utilise him, and certainly his experience we can draw on. Righto, welcome along. We'll do some rotation stuff, work on the craft, but we won't split tonight. We'll work as a whole group on some ball movement. Let's make sure we're clear on it tonight. We keep instructing each other as much as possible, but above all, the energy's up to a level it needs to be with a couple of weeks to go.
It's really well structured. Initially we'll break into 3 groups, work between different drills with different focuses, and then we'll go into sort of a game sense, wider drill, and then typically finish with some skills and just generate a bit of excitement and encouragement in the week.
You blokes down with Bitchy. You blokes here with Fraser on the wing. You blokes lucky enough to be here, please.
With our initial rotations, we have around 45 probably that'll be on track tonight, so those 3 rotations all work much better in that smaller group environment rather than having the whole group and having a lot of downtime for the guys that aren't involved in the contest. So it's all about that constant movement and constant involvement through the drills.
We want 2 scores! We want 2 scores!
All the coaches are pre-assigned to the drills, and that's largely to try and reduce downtime that we have in between drills. So trying to make sure who we've got assigned is then in a position to get the next drill going. If we need to pack something up and get something else set up for the next drill, it's all designed so that they know where they've got to go next. And also we do some work on what part of the ground we want them to set up on, so that there's a spare part of the ground for them to actually set the next drill up on.
Keep it width, use the whole square.
Depending on who's running the session, myself or one of the assistants, keep time and run those rotations and between drills. But the main thing is that we're not coaching over the top of each other. We're really clear with their role within the training plan, and certainly allowing whoever's taking the lead at that stage to control the time. As we move between drills, the players have taken it upon themselves to make sure they're continuing to drive, whether it be the coach's message they've just been left with or something that they've seen within the drill that they can have an impact with. And we're encouraging the players to speak up. They're driving each other in that time as they move from station to station and rotation to rotation. I'm not working between the drills and the other coaches are stationary, so we are making the most of our time.
So you two jump down here. So Turtle's going to start in front, you're defending. In big group settings where there's one sort of general focus in a drill, players can sometimes get lost when that's not a specific focus for them and they don't get to spend the time on the things that might be a bit of a weakness in their game. So we pull blokes out individually like that to work on their specific needs. Little short bursts, try and keep it as regular as we can so they come in, work really hard, intensity's high, they get a lot of reps that they don't get in those big groups and then put them back in the drill so they can put it into play straight away.
All right, so we didn't have that coverage. So let's make sure we're thinking about that shape all the time. Mitchy.
Righto. Similar setup. We're going to go into 6v6, 6v6, 6v6. Do some really good hard contact work.
Our training tops are reversible, so we've got a blue training top, then you flip it over and it's white. Just really delineates the two sides and you know who you're working with and who against.
In past, where clubs have been using bibs or fluoro singlets and stuff like that, the players are responsible for their own laundry, and it certainly saves carrying home a stinky bag.
Here you go. Harry, up the ground, go! Go, Harry!
Shape around it, good. Door, great cover.
Sometimes with so many coaches out there, there's a potential to be contradicting each other. It's important that we continue to respect someone else's perception of what they've seen and how they address it. It probably adds an opportunity later, whether it be as part of our review of our training session in that planning that we do as a coaching group, to make sure that we're all on the same page, and it minimises those instances where you feel a need to coach over the top of each other, because that would certainly confuse the players.
Here we come. Righto, very good. Great way to finish. Thanks, Geary. Plenty of energy in that. Just help with the gear, getting that off, please. We'll get that away. Boots off. Quick catch up in the gym, please. Thanks very much.